Hey equestrians, Polly from Blue Ribbon Law here, and today I'm going to be talking about breeding contracts. Over the last 15 years practicing exclusively equine law, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the largest breeders in the country as well as many smaller breeders. And the one thing I've seen repeated over and over is the importance of having a well-defined contract. Hopefully you've already watched my video on all the pitfalls you can encounter if you're using a do-it-yourself contract you find on the internet. And if you haven't, I'd strongly suggest you click on the link in the description below and watch that video when this is over. Of course, all of those same principles apply to breeding contracts, but today we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of breeding contracts and discuss specifically what you need to consider before signing one. Live foal guarantee. While many, if not most, breeding contracts mention a live foal guarantee, the biggest problem we see is that the live foal guarantee is not defined. To one breeder, it might mean a foal that stands and nurses, and to another, it means a foal who lives for 24 hours. If not in writing, these types of differences can lead to a very expensive lawsuit. Not only do you want to define specifically what the live foal guarantee means, you also need to include how the mare owner can request rebreeding privileges to the stallion, the fees associated with rebreeding, and if there's any other circumstances that can void the mare owner from the rebreeding. Having personally lost a foal that was carried to term by my beloved mare, I know how devastating that loss can be. But in my case, once I was able to put the heartbreak behind me, I knew exactly what my options were because the breeding contract defined the live foal guarantee. Leftover semen. With advances in technology and breeding procedures over the last 15 years, we've seen a big increase in the number of breeders utilizing frozen and cooled semen contracts over live cover. These types of advances have made stallions from all over the world even more accessible to the average mare owner. However, as a result, we've seen an increase in legal disputes over what to do with leftover straws of semen. Not only do you want to specify what happens to the leftover straws, usually either destruction or return to the stallion owner, you also need to consider your remedies if someone breaches your contract. Unfortunately, we have seen cases where mare owners have used leftover straws to breed to an additional mare. Having a contract that has a specific detailed section on damages can prevent this type of behavior and protect the stallion owner when there is a breach of contract. Stallion schedule. A third common issue we have seen that leads to disputes is specifying the stallion's schedule of availability for collection and the frequency of shipping cooled semen. As a stallion owner, you do not want to be held liable if a mare is not bred because of a missed cycle due to the mare owner not receiving the semen in a timely manner. When drafting a breeding contract, we have a lengthy conversation with our client about the stallion manager's availability to process semen requests, as well as the stallion's availability and how these types of requests must be made for a timely shipment. Stating specific days and times that the stallion is available and when these requests can be made is a simple way to protect your liability. Look, I know that the minutia of contracts and definitions can be a bit overwhelming, and sometimes it's just easier to keep going with that contract that you've always used, even if it's putting you at a risk for a lot of potential problems. But you know what? There is an opportunity for you to talk to somebody who truly understands and who can help you craft a contract that will give you peace of mind on the issues we've discussed today and the many other breeding issues that can be addressed ahead of time. So I hope you will go to our website and schedule a call so that we can make sure you get to spend your time breeding and raising horses rather than fighting legal disputes.